Alright guys, so we are finally back to once again another episode of the series. I haven't done this in 2 weeks, but today we'll be covering the most wanted updates in War Tycoon. We haven't really had any announcements in the devlog recently, so here I am. I'm going to be covering the top suggestions channel, and I'll be going from kind of the top rather than starting it all from the bottom, because some of these suggestions I would have been at least a few months behind. So the first two suggestions, we are of course talking about spins. People really cannot forget about the spins rework, and I kind of understand where they're coming from, but in reality, once again, it's just gonna happen at some point, and we never know when it's going to be happening. Next up, we have ourselves a good suggestion over here, is pickups with mounted weapon system in the game, customizable weapons and armor upgrades. That would be pretty cool. It would really add into the upgradable vehicles section, and I honestly wish that whenever we do go ahead and upgrade something, it would actually be upgraded visually as well. We would actually get to see it rather than just seeing statistical changes, because statistical changes, they don't really make that much of a difference, and it doesn't actually feel as realistic as how it can be if they go ahead and actually do proper upgrades. Anyway, the next suggestion over here is you guys should make a new map with more terrain. This is just an example I created. Yeah, so people are already not happy with the current map. I mean, the current map, I gotta say, they have done a pretty good job on that, but once again, it's something that we all wanted. We want to have kind of like a Fortnite idea of a map to actually have a lot of, I guess we could say, terrain, which is all pretty much different, like jungle, forest, desert, and etc. I think this is a good suggestion, but they have only just released the brand new map, so it will be kind of hard to put that out, but I guess as a next map in the future, maybe this wouldn't be that bad idea. Anyway, the next suggestion over here is bring back the B2 and make it a level 50 reward. I disagree with this, because the B2 is already overpowered as it is, and if they make it a level 50 reward, well, that's going to become game breaking. Everyone's just going to be spawn killing with this. So I really hope that something like this would not be going down. Anyway, the next suggestion over here is make the Bradley 111 again. It's annoying. Make Bradley great again. And this is one of my personal suggestions. I really do love this. I do hope that something like this would happen to the Bradley. I don't even understand why they made it 2 turrets. I mean, they did because they wanted to nerf it because the vehicle was very spammable. But as low as the tanks are right now in the meta, I think bringing it back to its former glory would be most best to actually go ahead and do. Anyway, that's definitely a thumbs up from me. Anyway, the next suggestion over here is the Samsung K9 Thunder self-propelled 155mm Helltizer. So they're pretty much just asking to add another vehicle, which would pretty much just go into the tank section. Yep, and this is exactly what it will be. I feel like this will be a really cool selection, especially because of the 155mm cannon. That would definitely be a big W for me, and I would love them to add something like this into the game. We haven't had tanks in a while, so this would be cool. Once again, people asking to add more terrain to the map. I mean, the current map can be updated and they can make it look a lot better and actually a lot more alive. So this is once again going to be a thumbs up from me. They're probably going to be making the stuff much more realistic, because recently they have also said that they're slowly going to be, I believe, changing up the art style, which is really cool. So I would love them to go ahead and actually do this well, making like cool terrain just like this. Anyway, the next suggestion is make Bradley able to carry passengers to open the back door. Definitely a thumbs up from me. The Bradley isn't even a tank, if I'm gonna be completely honest with you, and developers have said that they don't like to make interiors for tanks, but since Bradley's not a tank, why not make an interior for it, you know what I mean? Once again, people asking to add biomes. This is such a spam suggestion, but I do understand why people go ahead and spam it. Let's move up. So here we have ourselves adding physics like this when a plane goes over water, like image shown, and this is for the V22, but it can be turned off from being able to be seen in the dark with the dark camo. Yeah, I actually really like this personally. I feel like this should just be added for any type of plane in the game, and that would be incredibly cool. And I don't know why he said V22 right here. I'm not gonna question it, but this is actually very cool, and this is a really nice physics. I feel like it definitely should be an option to turn it on and off, but I think automatically it should be off for the people who don't really understand the settings in the game and people with the lower ended devices. Anyway, the next suggestion right here is ever wanted the crowd long range destroyer ever needed to just kill a large group of infantry or tanks? Well, this is a perfect vehicle for us. Yeah, I honestly love the fact that it has so many freaking rockets, and just imagine something like this will be added into the game. It says 24 rockets like this. I mean, I would be all for this. Like, there are times when we really need to deal with a lot of players, and if I'm gonna be fully honest, there's not really any vehicle in the game that has some insane area damage that's on the ground. The Bradley only has really good area damage with its wire-guided missiles, and the Levitt only has it with its rockets, but it's not like god level, so having something that's like god level area damage will be pretty cool to have, and only a one-use vehicle for that kind. I would love something like this to be added, but I think it wouldn't really work to be added into the tanks. I think ground vehicles will definitely be the right choice. Anyway, the next suggestion over here is add these guns. Once again, more people asking to have more weapons added into the game. Very big respect for that, and I would love us to at least have some more weapons in the game. The sniper meta is already enough recently, so actually changing it up will be really cool. Anyway, add a camera in the zone vault, and oh my god, that is something we would all love to have. Like, actually being able to know when a vehicle is, when someone is actually going to be going inside our vehicle. Of course, we do get to see it from the other POV once we're playing with the zone vault, but I think just having cameras on the inside would also be incredibly cool. And same with the lockable doors, because right now people can just easily counter the zone vault because they can just go in whenever they want. So hopefully the doors would get locked at some point. I think it's a pretty easy thing to implement. Anyway, next up, bringing back the handgun. Everyone wants this back, so I guess I'm going to accept it. But the next thing over here is for Rebirth 50, add an Easter egg vehicle, the gold F-22 Raptor that shoots lasers, drops nukes, and has zombies seeking missiles. Now, for funny part, make it cost 4 parts so you can't spawn it. Well, there would be completely no point of actually adding something like this, but I do believe having like a gold variant for a vehicle will be very much feeling like military Tycoon and unrealistic. But then at the same time, it's just a game. It will be pretty fun to actually go ahead and have different variants of vehicles, and if we do go ahead and have a golden one, oh man, that'd be pretty sick. Anyway, add a HUD to aircraft that can help us lead our shots. Once again, one of my favorite suggestions, but the thing is, if this was to get added, I feel like planes would just become even more overpowered, and no one actually wants this. Once again, another suggestion is replace the 2 million game pass with the skin crates and the daily spin, and this is finally an actual good, what do you call it, an actual good change, which I would love them to be going ahead and adding into the game, because the money is really not something that most people want to have, and the 2 million cash is, people just don't like it in general, and I actually think that this suggestion is pretty unique. Anyway, improve the anti-cheat ban. Once again, that's one of our standard suggestions. Add smoke trails to missiles and rockets. This will be very cool, but of course this feature would have to be turned off normally for lower-ended devices, but I think I would love this again. Once again, an F-35 rework. We already seen this quite a lot before. Once again, people talking about better anti-cheat. This feels like these suggestions are repeating themselves, like people are running out of ideas. However, one of my favorite ones is make landmines actually usable by being able to place them in the base rather than just being able to place them on specific terrain, because on most of the terrains in the game you just simply cannot place it, which unfortunately sucks. Anyway, next suggestion over here is make the maneuverability of the F-35 the same as the F-22s. I don't think this guy actually understands the game, but the F-35's turning is literally slightly better than the F-22s, and the only way to make them the same is by fully upgrading both of the vehicles. So I don't know what this guy is talking about here. A lot of people come into this suggestions tab without any knowledge on the game, which I absolutely hate. I feel like most of these people just have to understand. The F-35 cannot just be a broken toy that carries you through every single fight. And I've proven this yesterday. If I who doesn't actually play as much meta recently, easily plays with the F-35, and these people who play all day cannot do that, then I don't know what to say to them. Anyway, buff the AH-64 Apache, a good suggestion. The Apache is one of the most powerful helicopters in the world, but it's absolutely left in the dust in War Tycoon. Makes absolutely no sense to me. But once again, another suggestion right here is add that after 3 rebirths, the port will be longer and the boats will spawn along the base so that they are completely in the shield. Yeah, I would love them to go ahead and actually add this as well. I feel like the port should definitely be longer, but then they would have to extend the base as well. So I think the best way to do this is just to extend the shield length. It would just make it a lot easier to go ahead and implement. Alright, so the next suggestion over here is more improvements in terms of the flight system. I would love them to go ahead and actually add a lot of different maneuvers which we could go ahead and perform. This would actually also add a lot more skill to the game as well. However, I feel like right now some of these maneuvers are possible to do. However, you guys have to actually abuse glitches and abuse throttle and a lot of different things in the flights. So I feel like just making us be able to do it normally would be a lot easier without actually using game mechanics. This is something I would definitely love. And another thing thing is, I would love them to actually keep the skill gap inside of there, because right now, if they make this just possible for everyone without actually having to put in any effort, that would suck. So actually having to do some specific things to be able to pull out this maneuver, that would also be pretty great. Anyway, the next suggestion over here is size scaling option for gun camos. Why are the camos so small? They are hardly cool when it looks like a grain filter. Yeah, I mean, it really does depend on what you guys are going to be looking for with your weapons, but I think that this is a good suggestion. Anyway, the next over here is Regimental Sky Ranger 30. The SR-30 is an air defense vehicle revealed in 2021. In Regimental, the company behind the KF-51 Panther, it's a short-range SPAAG with an air burst round, with due to this game's aim sensitivity, it should have instead explode when near a target. Armaments, it has a 30x 173mm machine gun with a 200 RDS a minute fire rate for single shots, 4 air missiles. I think this something like this would actually be really cool, and it would actually look very similar to the KF-51 Panther. I feel like, once again, a lot of these vehicles are really good and fitting for the game, considering the planes are really overpowered right now, so we definitely do need to have some kind of counter to them anyway. And then the last two suggestions of this video is add a landing ship that can transport land vehicles. Once again, a big plus, something I would love to have. And then the last one is add an air brake or some way to slow down planes besides reducing throttle. Yeah, it is quite annoying how a lot of people just end up crashing because of this, and some people just have to abuse veto on stuff like the V-22 Osprey, having to abuse veto on the Harrier, the F-35 and all this stuff. So having an actual air brake feature would definitely be the best to do anyway. Well, that is everything I have for you guys in this video. That's all the time I had for today. Let me know in the comment section down below what you believe about these suggestions. I think that the recent suggestions have actually been quite weak, but there are a few really good ones which I would love the developers to go ahead and add, and both of us know what they actually are. Anyway guys, I'll see you all in the next video. Have a great rest of your day, and thanks so much to my channel members.